Shalom. My name is Linda Duke, and I teach Hebrew through movement at Congregation B'nai Shalom in Westboro, Massachusetts. I have taught Hebrew through movement both in person and virtually, but when I was first asked to teach remotely, I felt rather overwhelmed. I had no idea at all where to start to plan an effective Hebrew through movement lesson teaching online. Through a lot of trial and error, some successful, some not very successful, I determined 5 areas I needed to consider in order to make my lesson successful. I'd like to share those with you now in the hopes that it will make your virtual teaching easier. The first thing I needed to think about was vocabulary. All my learners do not have a door or window in view of their camera, and in fact, I don't either when I'm teaching. However, I can teach words for items they do have at home and can bring to their space to use for props. One of the favorites was booba, doll or stuffed animal. They liked bringing their favorite booba to use as a prop during our lessons. The second thing I needed to consider was space, both theirs and mine. It took me quite a while to figure out exactly where to put my computer and how to set up my props so that students could see me and the props, but at the same time I could still see them on my screen so that I could assess and respond as I would in the classroom. I also needed to think about how to continue social learning in a virtual environment, making sure students were all in gallery view so that they could see not just me, but also the other students in their class, and also adjusting for that 1 or 2 second delay in sound that sometimes occurs over Zoom. It took me a while to slow down the pacing of my lessons to make sure all students had heard one command before moving on to the next. I also needed to think about props. Of course, when I'm teaching in person, I have everything in front of me and laid out before I start my class, but that's not the case in Zoom. I needed to think about what items students might be able to get easily at home and bring to use as a prop, and when they would need to use pictures. And if they were going to be using pictures for props, how would I get these pictures to them, or perhaps which ones could I have them make so they'd have these props available. Finally, I needed to give some thought to what I wanted my students to know before I started the lesson, both to ensure their success, such as keeping their cameras on and staying in view of their cameras, and also to ensure their safety as they moved around. I know from my own experience this is an awful lot to think about, but we have resources available to help you. Below this video, there are links to these resources, as well as more information on each of the items I've mentioned. For those of you who are changing to online learning partway through the year, as I did, you already have a lot in place to help make your lessons successful. You have a rapport with your students. They understand some of the cues you give them, such as they know when to just watch and listen and when they should respond. You've already created an environment that promotes social learning, positive feedback, and fun. All of this will carry right over into your virtual lessons. Teaching Hebrew through movement virtually can definitely be successful, even if it does present different challenges than when teaching in person. Using the resources below this video, adjust your lessons and adapt them to the virtual environment, and have fun with them. Your students will continue to be successful and have fun as well.